Steve, we're here looking at A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead, and this game is, of course, centered off of the movie A Quiet Place. And I actually tried to watch that movie about a week ago. I sat down and I thought, this really isn't speaking to me, and that was quite unfortunate. I'm a big horror buff, and I have to say, the video game is much better than the movie, in my opinion. But before we get into this, I am going to give this a 7.5. I think there's a few things holding the game back, but overall, this is a great experience. How about yourself?
Like you, Scott, I have not seen the films, and I did have to look up a little bit about it just to see what the premise of the story is about in this game, because it doesn't go into too much depth at the very beginning. But I'm actually giving this an 8 out of 10, as I did have fun. I thought graphically it was quite impressive in some places, but let down in others as well. But overall, is the idea of the game is you have to keep quiet, and I do highly recommend as well play with headphones and a microphone as well.
I actually didn't, but I looked at those settings and I changed a lot of the visual settings. Actually, I want to make note of that right off the start. Is I thought the film grain was a little bit messy. It was something was happening there, and I didn't like the frame rate as I looked left and right. I went and tweaked some of the settings in there, changed it to I think letterbox ratio, and then the game looked so much better. But we talked a little bit about it. Some of the cutscenes at the beginning were a little rougher than they seemed to look towards the end of the game, which was a little strange to me. But it seems that it's incredibly hard to render thumbs and human hands. That's one thing that kind of alerted me to the issues. But getting beyond kind of the visual hiccups, the game is a really, really good premise. It's kind of a little bit like Alien Isolation, but
Yes.
like I said, there's some things that hold that back from being quite the same as Alien's Isolation. But think about that same premise. There's a creature following you the entire time. At least I'm pretty certain it's almost the entire time. But you're constantly having to worry about what kind of noise you're making and have an escape plan maybe picked out. You get some of the items along the way, like a bottle you can throw for a distraction. You can put a brick through a window and cause the creature to do some damage for you to kind of open up the environment. And I thought that was really cool and really interesting, because not only am I trying to escape this thing or kind of keep it at bay, but it's also doing my bidding at times. And I thought that was really fun. Some of the kind of in-world elements are really the standout to me. When you get to some of these notes, you're reading some of these stories, some of these tales, you do a couple of the flashback scenarios to kind of give you explanation as to what happened, the invasion of the aliens and such. And I thought the world was just so vibrant and so filled and emotional at times.
So you do play as the protagonist, Alex. So you're following her story and her dramas of her life before the invasion, and obviously now living through it. And I loved when you mentioned about Alien Isolation, one of my favourite games. Again, it's having that mic, it picks up any sound, and the creature in this game, I was quite impressed by the AI in this. I thought, like, when you're doing that stealthy moment and you're just watching its routine of pattern of how to get from point A to B without being seen or making a noise, and you do have to move very, very slowly as well, because it does pick up your footprints. But that creature actually goes smashing through walls, it jumps on buses and other vehicles, and if you do make a noise, it does get right up in your face, and you do get a little cutscene of you died as well, which I thought was really cool.
Yes, there's some lovely ways to find your end in this game. It was really brutal. I had so many moments where the thing was right in my face, like just about to touch me, and I'd throw a bottle at right in the nick of time and save my life. And there was the real, genuine, pulse-pounding moments that were something that you can't script in a game like this. It just kind of happens. But another highlight of me was really the kind of, with that emotional gravity, the kind of story that you come across. It's really just about this woman trying to find a life that's normal again. It kind of spoke to me in a way that The Last of Us did, which is just the world has really fallen. It's not Earth as we know it, and you're just trying to come across a normal life. And one of the first things that goes wrong is other people in that scenario. There's a very human element to this game, and it was something that just it struck a chord with me.
I do like the idea, as you play Alex, you suffer from asthma, so you do get a picture of your lungs. So as you mentioned, like when the creature is right in your face, obviously the heavy breathing, and obviously you have to stop as having an asthma attack or a panic attack. So you on the way you do find inhalers on the way that you just take a quick breath of. But again, you have to be careful because that does also make sounds. So when the creature's right above you, so again, little touches like that I thought was really cool in this game as well.
Oh, I really liked some of those environments and how they kind of hid a little the puzzles that you come across, opening the suitcases and things like that. All of the hints are in the immediate vicinity, and they were really fun. And it was an interesting way to kind of explore some of the areas.